Hi folks, and welcome into this edition of This Week in Pearl. I'm Frank Hutton, your host. Today's going to be a great show of This Week in Pearl. I'm going to bring in our state senator, Dean Kirby, and our state representative, Gene Newman. We're going to talk about the legislative session coming up in 2025. I know, right? Can you believe that? 2025 is literally right around the corner. Just a few weeks and we'll be there. But that's going to start in about a month. And so it's going to be a wild, long session. It's going to be great hearing about what's in store and what they have on their plate for the agenda coming up. So you stay tuned right there and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl to enjoy a Mississippi Braves baseball game or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Hi folks, and welcome back into this edition of This Week in Pearl. I am joined once again, and for the last time this year of 2024, with our representatives from the Senate, Dean Kirby, and our representative from the State House, Gene Newman. Thank you for joining today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
A little bit under the dome this year to finish out the year for This Week in Pearl. Talk a little bit today about what we can expect next year.
Fireworks.
Fireworks? It should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a bang. Well, first off, this past year, as you know, was a long session because of the first year of a new term.
Yep.
It's 120 days. This time it's only a 90-day session. So we'll have about, 10,000? No, really, we'll have about 3,000 bills to act on within 90 days. It's going to be fast and furious.
3,000?
Yeah.
That's the average. 3,000 bills.
I bet a lot of people don't realize it's that many.
Well, usually, yeah.
Well,
it's usually a little above
we'll
3.
pass somewhere between 200 and 300.
Yeah.
But out of the 3,000, so 10% of what's actually proposed.
That's about right.
Is about right. That's still a lot. Session starts January.
Well, you still got to discuss them. You still got to read them. You still got to, it's,
January
they just
7th,
don't pass.
And it's 90 days.
And it's 90 days.
First Tuesday after the first Monday. People don't understand that, but it's the first Tuesday after the first Monday.
Being that we don't, there's a reason for that too.
Okay.
There's a reason for everything.
There's a reason for everything.
So we won't
Tell
come
us.
in on January the 1st.
Got it.
On New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day. So it's
Not
the
that
first
our-
Tuesday after the first Monday.
That's
Not
right.
that our representatives and senators would not be in good shape on New Year's Day, but they want to see the new year come in, so they stay up late.
Okay. Going back to the days of the patio club and all.
Gene and I are not that old.
We don't know anything about
Actually,
that.
We were not in the legislature during those days.
Which was just right across the street.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, right. Anyway, all right, so there's a bunch going on. As we were sitting here talking off camera before we started, there's a lot that y'all want to cover. I know out of 3,000 some of my bills, there's a lot. And I know one of the things we were discussing, we'll just jump right to it, was health care. Health care. Let's just get into you've got a lot to do with health care. Let's talk about it. What's going on?
I think the Senate will probably bring something this year. So, I mean, the House brought something up last year, and which, part of what we did was a bad idea. But I knew that the Senate would not pass what we did, so I voted on it to keep it moving. But then they actually did produce a very good bill, and in the end, and then the Democrats killed it because it was good.
He's exactly right, and we will come back, I feel sure, with a bill this year on the health care, and it's for the bill we're talking about is for the working poor. In other words, we want to help, as Gene and I both have talked about several times, we want to help those that need help and those that are really trying in life, those that maybe might work 2 jobs
Or
or
three.
3 jobs.
Or 3.
Yeah, and just to pay their bills. But yet they don't make enough, they may be part-time at those, they don't have health insurance, but they're trying. And so we need to take care of those people that need help, that really are trying and want to do a good job and take care of their family and do the right thing. And I think you'll see a bill like that this year. I think it'll be something for the working class people. Now, I do think the people that want to watch Days of Our Lives, The Price is Right and things like that on TV, they'd rather do that than work.
We're not talking about them.
We're not talking about them. We're not going to, they're on their own. But those that are honestly trying to do the right thing and provide for their families, we want to help those people.
We're mainly talking about the working poor,
Working poor,
maybe a little bit less educated, probably GED or not, and that are struggling every day to support families. Is that really who we're talking about here?
My district is mostly Pearl. I mean, I have a little touch of Brandon, but it's mostly Pearl. My district is a working class, majority blue collar working class, and a lot of the folks that live in this district are you have a lot of single mothers. You have small families that sometimes they're working 2, 3 jobs trying to make it, and when they're doing that, those type of jobs, low wage jobs, don't provide health care. So if we can do something to help those people, I'm all for it. We need to try to figure out a way to help them.
and I understand there's about 70,000 people in the state. Out of 3 million, there's about 70,000 that fit that classification.
And we're really not talking Medicaid expansion here, because that's really not what anybody
I
wants
mean,
to do.
we're using that money, but that's not
Right.
what we're trying. Well, that's not what we're trying to do.
Actually, the plan that, if I can interrupt, the plan that we're talking about, we refer to it in the Senate as the Trump plan.
Okay.
The reason being, when Donald Trump was in office before, that was his plan. That's what we're trying to do. So we're not trying to do any Obamacare or any of that stuff. We don't want to do that, but we do want to help those that need help, that are actually trying. They've lost their jobs and having to work part-time till they can find a full-time job or whatever.
2 part-time jobs.
Or
which
2 or
doesn't
3, yeah.
Right.
So those people, we want to help them. And like I say, it's very similar to what Georgia and some other states have filed for right now. Knowing that Trump's coming back in, we're seeing a mass of other states doing the same thing. So I think it'll be approved. What we need to do, if we can, and I think it may be possible, is to file with the federal government and to get it saying, yes, if you do this plan, we'll approve it, then we'll pass it. Let's not sit there and argue and fight with the Republicans and Democrats or whoever, and finally pass a bill and then they turn it down. And we don't need to do that. Let's take care of business. Let's do the right thing.
Okay. Now, we discussed also about the cost of health care, just in general, right, Gene?
I mean, and part of the problem with the cost of health care is well, you got inflation and all that stuff, but the biggest problem is the way the insurance companies and the way the hospitals and stuff bill. They charge these outrageous fees, and then they settle for a lot less and do those kind of things, and that manipulates the market. What's allowing that is something called a certificate of need. All hospitals and medical facilities have to have a certificate of need to prove that they're viable for that location, and basically what that is a way for them to protect their business. They say, well, we're going to spend $150 million building a hospital. We need to know that somebody else is not going to build one right next to us. Well, that's good in theory, but it's bad in practice. It's bad economic theory, I can tell you that.
No, it's not good economic
It's not
policy.
good.
No, it's not.
We need to find a way to eliminate it. I know the House is looking at some different things. I mean, hospitals, nursing homes.
Nursing homes are a big issue.
Is a big issue, and we don't have enough nursing homes right now because of certificate of need, and we need to do something with it.
Speaking of nursing homes, since you brought, I asked this question this past week. Where are we on our new VA nursing home?
Here at Whitfield.
It'll be on Airport Road, near Allen Stewart Drive, where you turn to go to the crime lab, and the new Highway Patrol headquarters that will hopefully by December of next year we'll be in. But where are we? We've done everything we can do as a state, and I think I think our National Guard and everybody else has done everything they can do. We're just the way that works. It's on a rotation as to giving money to different states, and I think this next year is our turn in rotation. So we should see that new VA nursing home on Airport Road, which I'm excited about.
Yes,
It's going to be very nice. The one in Jackson is not good. I just think our veterans deserve more than their windows being shot out or holes in the roof or whatever. And they shouldn't have to be worried about being shot at this point in their life. So anyway, that's coming. That's coming. We didn't even talk about our new road up here, did we?
I know, but we can certainly cover that as well. But I know I know healthcare is a big deal. I mean, obviously, with the news that we just had recently with United Healthcare CEO being killed in New York. I mean, there's a lot of upheaval right now.
It is
in that industry.
It is,
and the cost is just astronomical. And how do we bridge that gap from the working poor to the people that it's provided? I mean, how do we bridge that gap?
One of the problems is that there's nobody regulating health insurance right now. I mean, the Obamacare bills that were passed, it sets stuff up
in Washington.
In Washington,
not here.
Mississippi,
right.
In Washington. They messed the insurance market up so bad that state insurance regulators, not just ours, but almost all of them, are hands off of it because it's so messed up. Like the state's trying to put in a plan right now to have its own exchange program. And they're running into all kind of problems because of the way the federal law is written. So, it's the Obamacare laws need to be fixed. Whether we're completely done away with or whatever needs to be done with them, it needs to be solved because it's bad.
Well, I would like to see that completely taken out of the federal government's hands.
Yeah, it needs to
be brought back to
that would
the
make us all happy.
Yes, I believe they should repeal all of that. Yeah. We had that opportunity, except for one person killed it back when Trump was president the first time. But I would like to see them repeal all of that and give that back to the state so that you guys could do something with it. I don't think the federal government needs to be involved in it.
I don't think that they'd have the votes the way it's set up
Frank,
right
I've said this also. Some of our rural hospitals are in trouble. There's no doubt about it. They're having a hard time. Some of that they've brought on themselves, I think, because of course, I know I'm antique, but let me tell you, when I was growing up, the small rural hospital were exactly that, and they would fix a broken arm, they would treat you for the flu or pneumonia or whatever, but they didn't do hip replacements and knee replacements and heart surgery and didn't have MRIs and do all those things. And some of our rural small hospitals want to be big hospitals. They don't want people to have to drive to Jackson or to Memphis or New Orleans or whatever. Of course, there's large cities around, but anyway, so I think part of this was brought on by themselves, the fact that they're trying to do everything for everyone. And when I was growing up, like I say, if you lived in a rural area, then you had to go to a major city, to a major hospital to get that done. And these rural hospitals can't afford all that they're trying to do. They need to back off, and say, this is what we're doing. And then I think it'd make a big difference.
handle more critical care on the front end, get you stabilized,
absolutely.
and then send you to a larger facility
yeah.
that manages that.
Yeah,
So it's just some mismanagement.
but it's not just the equipment, not just the MRIs,
Sure.
and, C scans and all that. It's not that. I mean, you've got to have professional doctors,
Right.
specialists to do
Right.
it. So,
But now in
it just keeps
today's
adding
work,
up.
now taking, and I do believe that the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
And in today's world, we have a wonderful way to do telemedicine. So as you talk about, let's talk
Absolutely.
about equipment, CAT scans, MRIs, all of those can be done in those hospitals and actually read by somebody in another one.
That's right.
And so they would not have to employ necessarily a physician 24/7, 365.
Right, but for some reason, I think some of the rural hospitals think they do.
Right, and how do you correct some of that?
And I understand wanting to treat everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a business model, you know.
Sure.
That's the bottom line. They need to fix their business model.
Yeah.
And that can be
That's
the
my
market.
opinion.
The
And-
market can force that.
Yeah, the market will force that if we get rid of
If you
the
start
restrictions.
changing the certificates of need, the market can force that.
They
Right.
can.
Because we're all big market guys. we all think market forces need to drive things.
Right.
You need to allow hospitals to compete with each other
That's right.
to help drive costs down.
And
But
nursing homes.
And nursing homes. But as you mentioned earlier off camera, we don't need Walmart doing CAT scans.
Right.
No, we don't. We need professional hospitals doing those. And
Right.
Even if they have someone that knows how to do it, we don't need that because of what it could lead to. So,
Yeah, and I can,
But
I can see the hearing aids in Walmart. I can see the glasses and all that.
Oh,
kind of stuff.
sure.
All that makes sense to me.
yeah,
But when you start getting into the
a brain injury or concussion or
Right.
a heart or whatever, no. It
yeah,
shouldn't
Sam
be
Walton doesn't need to be doing those.
Or Ralph taking over one of the bays down at the local gas station and adding some.
And an MRI
MRI
machine.
machine in
Yeah,
there.
go get an MRI
Right,
while
right.
you get your oil
Go get your
change.
blue plate and come by later and get your MRI. Well, I trust y'all will work through that.
I think we will.
That'll be fun to talk about next year as y'all kind of debate the healthcare side. All right, so let's talk a little crime, Dean.
Little crime.
Let's
We're
talk
having
a little
a lot
crime.
of crime.
Let's talk a little crime. There's a lot going on. The Capital District itself, y'all have expanded it and pushed it out with Capitol Police. Y'all have made some changes there. Kind of what are we looking at on the horizon with
Well,
crime bills?
first
this year?
off, living anywhere in Rankin County is an honor,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, and it's a place everyone should look at living because of the crime.
You're not
We
biased,
have-
are you, being from Rankin County?
You know, I talked to the Mayor Wyndham, and I asked him
Yeah.
about how many murders and that type here a few months ago, and he said, "Well, year before last we didn't have any, and I think we had one last year. They're over 100 right now in Jackson." Of course, I know the city of Jackson's larger, but it's not that much larger.
Well, the kicker to that is when you look at that Capitol area that the Capitol Police cover, and then you look at the rest of Jackson, and then you've got a small amount of murders over here and a large amount in the rest of the city.
That's right.
Right.
Capitol Police is doing a fantastic job. We've done a lot of things wrong, I'm sure, but that's one thing we did right, was expanding the Capitol Police, putting them under the Highway Patrol instead of the Department of Finance and Administration, hiring experienced people, and of course you put someone in a war zone, you expect to pay them more. But that makes it kind of tough on that Flowood, Pearl, Brandon, Clinton, Madison, because we're paying these guys more. But you got to, as I said earlier, where you had no murders or one murder compared to over 100 this year, you kind of, it's hazardous duty pay, I guess you could say.
Sure.
So yeah, we have paid. But the good part about it is for the police departments, they had to up their policemen's pay rolls
Sure.
because of what we've
Because of
done,
what you've done,
which
right.
they deserved.
Sure.
I mean, every
Absolutely.
policeman, every fireman deserve as much as the city can afford to pay them. So yeah.
And crime is a really big deal. Our whole society would collapse if we did not have solid law enforcement and services like fire departments deliver.
Yeah,
The society would collapse if we did not have
And let me tell you, these Capitol policemen, which are, you got to realize a lot of them are retired guys. When you think retired, you think 65. They're not 65. They're in their 40s.
Sure.
A lot of them, because it started when they were in their 20s, you know, being a policeman somewhere or a highway patrolman even, because a highway patrolman they have separate retirement. They'll take their retirement and then go to work for Capitol Police, which is under the state retirement, not the Highway Patrol state retirement. So they can get two retirements that way and get an increase in pay. So it's,
And they're
it's a good
seasoned
deal.
officers.
And what we have is some really, really good highway patrolmen and experienced city and county deputies, sheriffs and all from the surrounding areas that, you know, want to take care of their families. But again, the job might be a little harder than what they had with that city or county too. So, but anyway, we're excited to have experienced good guys, and they do not mess around. Now, I mean, I had a guy in Jackson tell me that he was watching a dope deal go down on a corner, and someone yelled JPD, and they never checked up. They just kept doing what they were doing. And then someone yelled Capitol Police, and he said they scattered.
They see
So-
the black and whites coming. They
So
move
Capitol
on.
Police does not mess around. They will put you in jail.
So what about our coastal areas and in our northern part of the state, crime-wise?
Well, Gulfport, being the number 2 city in the state, is second in crime, I think. Tupelo up in the north is having some real, and Columbus, I understand, is having a lot of problems in crime right now. All inner cities are having it.
So what are y'all going to debate on how to help fix that?
I mean, we're
Criminal justice system only works when it's swift and sure.
Agreed.
And that's what we need to, as far as legislative efforts, we need to focus on making sure that we're not harsh, we're not cruel, we're just swift and sure. Get our laws where the district attorney's offices can be very effective and getting trials moved through the courts, and making sure our judges get their jobs done.
Is that
Now
part-
we got
and you
to.
see crime probably way more than I do.
Yeah, but-
in the business that you're in. So he knows. He knows. So I depend on.
I don't know, the
people.
model that you did for the city of Jackson wouldn't necessarily be the model you'd want to use
No.
on the coast, or the model you'd want to put in Tupelo,
Absolutely
obviously
not.
right?
But we need to help those folks in every way we can to enforce the laws.
Now, do we have any issues with like DAs or elected officials who don't want to prosecute some stuff, as you see in other states
Well,
where
we had one issue that seems to be resolving itself.
not to call anybody out, but just, yeah, of course, yes. But,
I mean,
just,
you know, and it's one of those deals that's really sad, but
I guess I'm talking about like misdemeanors where people like don't, you know, they go in and do shoplifting, and you've got DAs who aren't prosecuting it, you know, or just letting them walk.
I
on
think
some-
that was going on.
there,
I'm not
there,
sure. it
there,
still
there
is.
were places and
Not in Rankin County.
There,
No, not
in,
here.
not in Rankin County, but there were places across the river that was occurring, and so hopefully that will change once this situation resolves itself.
Sure.
And in federal court, it will resolve itself.
Right.
But you know, we had last year I put a bill in on shoplifting. We trying to resolve the issue where you'd have multiple people coming in to do shoplifting, and one would tie up, especially in a small mom and pop store, but somebody would go tie up the clerks and or not, you know, not physically,
Yeah,
but
right,
occupy
right.
their time.
Occupy their time,
And go, then they'd go start stealing stuff out of the store. So we made it where they can prosecute all of them, even though one person was doing the crime itself. They can be prosecuted for conspiracy. It's kind of what you would call a RICO Act deal in federal court, but we passed. I introduced that, and we passed that last year to solve some of that issue. And that's primarily to help businesses get a handle on that.
Okay.
But getting back to Capitol Police, I wish we could have it in every city that's having problems. Honestly, we can't, I'm sure, but I'm gonna tell you, they are doing a good job.
Any
in Jackson.
expansion for them this year, or we're going to keep the lines?
No, we are. We've got, what, 270 something now? We hope to be, I think they want to go up to 300, isn't that correct, Gene?
I don't know.
I think that's
increase
what,
their
I think
territory?
that's what
No,
Commissioner
I don't think the
Tyndall.
territory's going to increase.
Just the,
They
No, I
have,
don't
they
think
have,
the
I think the
territory-
territory where they're at's there, but they already have that. We gave them 2 years ago
Yes.
the authority to operate anywhere in Jackson.
Yeah.
anywhere inside the city.
If JPD needs help,
If, if they get
can
called,
do it.
Mutual aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they pursue somebody out or that, whatever it is, they got the authority anywhere in the city.
That's good.
Yeah. We're trying.
Right. And
We're
it is
trying.
the capital city.
Yeah.
It is.
And kind of an offshoot of that, looking at the building behind you, I mean, it just kind of reminds, that is the capital city. And it's not something that we necessarily have to discuss deeply, but, even the water situation in Jackson, the infrastructure being so old and the amount of money that the state has funneled into fixing that, as well as the federal government coming in. I mean, where is that
Well,
right
the
now?
guy that's running the water system in Jackson is doing a good job.
Yep.
If everybody just leave him alone, let him get the job done, I think he'll take care of things. He's now been put over the sewage system too.
Yeah, right.
Judge Wingate is a very smart man. I've known him for a long time. I mean, a long time. I can imagine how old we are. But he's given him the authority to run the sewage system and the water system, and it's a big job, but he's solid.
Sure.
If they'll just leave him alone and let him go.
I agree 100%.
I mean, he's just basically working autonomously from the city of Jackson, and I get it. Does this ever go back to Jackson, or does the state just take this
Well,
over?
I don't think it'll go back to the city of Jackson. I think it'll be some kind of a commission that runs it in the future. Just trying to figure out which way is the best way to do that. I'm not saying that it's completely taken away from the city of Jackson.
Sure.
The city of Jackson will always have it's there. I mean, it's part of the city. It serves the city, so they've got to have a hand in it. But I think it's not going to be given back to the city council to play with and manipulate the money out of it.
More like kind of what you did with the airport commission. I know that's still tied up in legislation.
We actually won that in court.
Yes, that's been won in court, but that's
but
similar.
they're going to file an appeal again.
Sure.
I understand, and but they did. The federal judges have ruled in our favor on that, making it a regional airport.
It is inevitable
Yeah.
That
It's coming. Yeah.
that it's going to happen.
But again, it's still the city of Jackson's airport. We're
Right.
just doing a board of qualified people.
Right. So I'm drawing a parallel to the water
That's right.
and sewer system.
And I think it'll be the same.
It would be similar,
I think so.
where you'd have a board that would be in charge of that. And probably as it should be, is to increase the city and to help it grow into the future, it should be more of
Of course, Rankin is no longer on the Jackson sewer
know.
system. We have our own.
We have our own.
And you may have to pay $10 a month more, but
Right.
guess what? You
Right.
have sewer and you have water.
Really good water,
Yes.
really good sewer.
Yeah.
The city of Pearl spent a bunch of money on
Yes.
on infrastructure improvements for this, for the city on sewer, and
And
continuing to do
and
so,
so has Brandon and Flowood.
which is great. All right, so moving on. I'm saving the best for last, but let's move into education. Let's move into education. Education's always a hot topic. You get the teachers' unions and everybody fussing about needing more money or less money. Where are we going this year with education?
Well, first of all, I think that education's always in the top 3 or 4. Actually, it's like number 4 this year, according to the polls. Used to, every year, education was the number 1 issue. But after we passed several bills to help people, and we've raised the teacher pay, and we've done things, there's a big move now, it appears, to check each school district on administration and see if they're too heavy in administration. And to make sure, that the money's going to the classroom where it should be going. But the larger your school is, the more administrators you need too, so I understand that. But as far as funding, We're going to fund education. Education right now is almost half of our total $7.3 billion budget. So it tells you take half of that and you see where we are with education. We're still going to do that. Education is a major, major issue with the legislators. We want to make sure that our children are well educated. The big issue, it looks like this year, might be school choice. School choice sounds great, like a lot of other things. School choice is where you don't like Pearl, so you're going to send your kids to Brandon, or you're going to send them to Callaway, or wherever you want to send them. You know, they're not talking about in district. In district, one thing, but out of district, going anywhere you want to, including a private school, it is a major problem with me. First off, when we say private schools, I don't think private schools want it. The ones I've talked to, they don't want school choice. They're happy just the way they're operating. And I've talked to folks in Pearl as well, and other school districts in central Mississippi, the superintendents, they don't want school choice. They say it caused more problems than it would anything else. Now, here's my big hang up on it. My big hang up is that we sign teacher contracts in April of every year. We're guaranteeing those teachers a job for the next year. Then they go to school and they don't have any kids in their classroom all at once. Well, guess what? They still get paid. Or they have 4 kids. Mm-hmm. Well, another teacher said, look, I'm down 2. Give me those 4. What do you do? The money, they say, follows the child. So money won't be a problem. Well, it may not be a problem for the child and those parents, but it's a major problem for that school. Mm-hmm. It's a major problem because they're committed, and all at once they're losing all their funding because they don't have those kids anymore. That's a problem with me, and it's a problem, I think, with our teachers. So we used to worry about at one time in Pearl when you'd have 100 kids and have to meet in the auditorium over here a long time ago when all the reservoir kids went to Pearl. It was a major problem of not being able to afford enough teachers. Mm-hmm. Now if we're not careful, we're about to overpay for teachers that don't have any students. I have a problem with that. That's just me, though. I see major problems with school choice. I know the guy from England wants it, that's pushing it over here, but they're going to have to prove to me that it's better for the kids. Right now, I don't know that it's better for the kids. So,
Gene?
Well, I don't believe it's better for the kids. My issue with it, I got several issues with it, but the biggest one is community. You know, we in Pearl voted extra taxes on ourselves to be able to pay for some of the things that we have at our Pearl schools to take care of our kids, our grandkids, and some of us don't have kids at Pearl schools anymore at all, but it's still our community.
Right.
Some kid coming in here from Puckett or Jackson or wherever, they don't care about this community. They don't care about what happens in Pearl. And that to me is the most important thing is our community. Keeping it, like this parade, the Christmas tree lighting and the parade the other night, seeing all the people that we know and getting to spend time with them. It's about the people that we know here. So when you take that community away from it, then you're going to be doing the same thing they do at college with NIL, with jumping football players and basketball players around from this school to that school. There's no loyalty. They don't care about those schools anymore. It'd be the same thing here. So as long as it's going to be like that, I'm not interested in it. But we got a good school system, and Rankin County, Pearl, we got good schools, and we don't need to mess that up.
Yeah, saying that, I want to follow it up as I'm not so much against school choice in the failing school districts. Now, you got a D and F or an F school district where those kids aren't being taught. We either need to merge that school with another school and have new administration. My opinion, okay, this is not the Senate's opinion, this is my opinion. But those kids that want to learn and they can't because they don't have the right teachers to teach them in the D and F school districts, hey, I may not be against that. But I want it so that the school board or the school that they are moving to or want to go to, they have to approve it. Leave it up to the local school district, and if that child has been a major problem at whatever school he was in, they don't want to accept them, that's fine. But you get a good kid that works hard, that's an A student in a failing district that wants a better education, I'm for helping that kid. Fortunately, we don't have any D or F schools. So.
Well, from a citizen's perspective, non-elected official, taxpayer, lives in Rankin County, 4 kids graduating from Pearl schools, that have gone on to be very successful in their own right and are doing very well. I'm a product of a private school in Jackson. I don't think I turned out too bad.
That's right.
But from my perspective and from people that talk to me about this very issue, school choice sounds good. Emotionally good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Logically, it doesn't make any sense. Now, Trump campaigned on school choice. I'm a Trump fan. Obviously, I support him. But school choice is not the answer. And the grassroots people that I speak to now, a lot of those people are here in Rankin County. We all agree with Gene. The way that he thinks is it's a community-based system.
Oh, absolutely.
But going forward, we need to do something. So we talked about crime here. We've talked about healthcare and other things. And then we've talked about just the city of Jackson, our neighbor next door, just the issues that they have had. With crime goes your city. With education goes your city. And not to pick on our neighbor next door, but obviously there's been some issues with JPS, with crime. So we're really bringing that back to elected officials and who runs the city. And how do we fix their issues, allow them to fix their problem so that their school districts will be back to an A-level school where people don't need school choice. That's really the root of the issue, is it not?
Well, that and you've got people who want to be able to pick that football player and that basketball player.
Well, obviously, but I mean, okay for college, okay for NFL.
It's not okay.
But that's not okay for high
it's
school.
not. So
that's just not okay.
Let me say this about the Jackson Public Schools. They have a superintendent over there that's running those schools right now. Mm-hmm. If they leave him alone, again, it's like the water guy. If they leave him alone, he's solving a lot of the
they
problems.
just closed Wingfield not too long ago. That was been open since Hatchet was a hammer.
Yeah.
And they're losing residents.
Right.
They're hemorrhaging money, hemorrhaging students.
But he's the one that's been willing to do anything with all that. And he's solving a lot of the problems that they have over there if they just let him keep doing his job.
Leave him alone and let him
do
his
his
job.
But he also needs money. He also needs crime to go there.
Do you know in Hinds County they're paying more per student than we are in Rankin County?
And they're getting less.
And they're getting less but it's because they were supporting school buildings and schools and paying for teachers and stuff at schools that was being wasteful because nobody, there was not enough students in those schools.
So is this really more of a localized issue for education than it is a state issue?
I think so.
Probably so.
Because you're going to fund education. We all know
we're
that's
We're going to fund education.
But at what point are we just throwing good money after bad?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my question.
Yeah,
and I think that's the taxpayer's question.
That's the question we always ask.
School choice is not the answer.
I don't think so.
Neither is Medicaid expansion.
And one thing on school choice, thing on school choice that a lot of these guys that are on school choice are they're really more interested in not public school to public school. They're more interested in public school to private school.
Right.
And that's they're paying for private schools and I've heard this from them that they've been paying they have to pay taxes for schools and they have to pay for their own kids to go to school. That's your choice to do that. But here's the thing that everybody needs to keep in mind about that. There is a provision in the Mississippi Constitution that says very clearly, it's not kind of fuzzy the way some people try to make it out to be. It's not fuzzy. It says that the state legislature cannot give money to a parochial or private school, period.
Can't do it.
There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you can say what you want to about what Arkansas did, what Louisiana, that's in the Constitution. They don't have that in the Constitution. We do.
Yeah.
And
Now you're talking about amending
And
the
we can't change the
Constitution.
Constitution.
If they want to fix that, if they
Voted on
want
by the people.
That's what you're saying. Now you're talking about having to.
you got to have
right.
2/3 of the vote in the House, 2/3 of the vote in the Senate, send it to the people, and if the people
Put it on the
voted
ballot.
on it,
It would never make it.
it
No.
wouldn't, it would never
It
pass.
would never
No.
pass.
But so we can't give money to private schools, and they can fuzzy it up and say, well, we're gonna call it this, we're gonna call it that.
Or we're going to let them have a tax credit on their income tax.
Yeah,
Well, we're
it's-
doing away with income tax. So what are you going to do then? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I
Yeah.
feel sorry for the kids who are having to go to underperforming schools. Totally. That should not, in the United States of America, we should not have this problem.
That's right.
We
But
should
do.
not. We should not have homelessness. We should not have poverty, and we certainly should not have bad schools. What are your thoughts on Trump's idea of doing away with the federal education department? What are your thoughts on him just gutting that and sending all that down to the states?
I think I like it.
I mean, that would be the smartest thing to do. That just
Absolutely.
I mean,
And-
the state could take that same money and use our Department of Education here to distribute that money a lot better than
Just
they can do
Yeah.
it.
gut the federal agency.
Right. Oh, and let me when I said we're going to do away, we've cut income tax, and we're going to look at cutting it even more. We haven't even talked about grocery tax yet.
Right. We were headed there next.
But we're going to cut it even more. But I was talking about state, not federal
Right,
income tax.
right.
We can't do anything
Sure,
with the federal,
obviously.
so I wanted to make that
Right.
clear.
Right.
Now let's talk about grocery tax. Can I talk about?
Let's talk
grocery-
about taxes.
I mean,
Let's move on because education we could really beat that.
Oh, we can beat
horse
that drum all day.
all day long.
Yeah,
Let's talk about taxes. What's in store for taxes?
I think you're going to probably see, I don't know about the House, but I think in the Senate you will probably see us introduce a bill and pass it, cutting our grocery tax in half this time. Now you say, everybody's saying, whoopee, woo, yay, yay, yay. Let me explain grocery tax first off. Grocery tax in the other states where they don't have grocery tax, and I think it's 9 states, by the way. It's not everybody's done it, it's not like that at all. But anyway, but our surrounding states around us have no grocery tax or a lower grocery tax. First thing is edible or consumable goods. So when you go to the grocery store right now, if we had no grocery tax at all, if you go to the grocery store right now, if you'll look when you get home, probably 30 to 40% of what you bought is not edible goods for human consumption type, pre-prepared food.
yeah, your laundry
type.
clean, your gain or Tide.
And you have to keep taxing those items that aren't edible type groceries. If not, they're going to be selling cars and boats and airplanes and
In the grocery
suits and
store.
everything else in the grocery store. So
Right.
you've got to do that. So that's part of it. So it's not as much as you think. I think the average family would save, someone told me, $200 a year of lowering the grocery tax or doing away with it. So it's not what everybody thinks. What everybody thinks is groceries are too dang high, and I agree with them 100%. But a lot of those items that you buy at the grocery store will continue to be taxed, just as they are in other states. Actually, had a senator tell me in a meeting last week that she bought groceries in Louisiana and there was no grocery tax. And she paid 15% on everything that wasn't edible goods in the grocery store. So it's not always what you hear, people pushing things. So now here's a problem that we have with it, and we're going to do it. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to do it, and I think you guys will too. We're going to cut it in half this year, the grocery tax on the consumable goods, edible goods. So we're going to do that. But when we do that, a lot of the tax money that comes in on all the groceries goes to the city. Well, not all. I'm sorry. They get 18.4% of the 7%. What's that? 1.3, 1.5%,
Right,
something
right,
like that.
right.
Goes to the city. So we're taking money away from the city to pay their policemen and firemen and the Franks and those other people that work.
People like me.
Yeah,
Right.
So if we do that, then the cities are going to have to either raise property taxes to make up for the
To offset
difference,
the difference.
or cut back. One of the
Right.
two. They got it because we're cutting their income. So we got to be very, very careful that anything that we cut, we've got to reimburse the cities of the amount that they've lost or make them whole. So we can't, we can't take advantage of our cities, and that's who
That's who you would ultimately hurt, which then ultimately hurts the citizens and the constituents.
Oh,
of that.
absolutely, and
Right,
I'd rather pay the any
I
kind
would
of
rather
tax
just keep
than
paying the grocery tax.
Property taxes are killing me. I don't know about you.
Right. I would just rather just keep paying it.
Yeah.
Because
So-
as you said, we're talking about when you go in the grocery store and you're going and you're buying your canned goods, you're buying your meats and your potatoes is what we're talking about. We're not talking about when you go get your
Paper
dog
plates.
food and your paper plates and your
Toilet
charcoal
paper
from your
and-
grill. That's
yeah.
not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
And I would just rather just keep paying it like it is and not have to
Well,
figure out how to
it's-
move
what
money
they
around.
do in other-
It's not hard. So we're gonna cut the grocery tax to half. That's 3.5%. All right. We give the cities a diversion of 18.4% of that 7% right now.
Right.
All we have to do is double their amount that they get to
And it's still the same.
36.8%.
Right.
And you're right in the same.
And you're right in the same position too.
That's right.
Right.
You don't have to change.
So we're going to
anything.
make the cities whole. The cities, if it's not in the bill, I'm not voting for it.
Got it.
Yeah, and there's I've heard a lot of different things that different ways that they're going to do the money to the cities and all this, some strange stuff. But and the bottom line is, all you have to do is double the.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate stuff.
Got it. What about income tax?
I can tell you without any question that the House wants to go forward with reducing the income tax more and completely eliminate it when possible. The issue is, we've gone a long way, and we need to know. The legislature has reduced taxes in a lot of different ways besides just the income tax. That are just now some of those things are just now taking place. The inventory tax and all those different things.
Franchise,
Yeah.
inventory,
A lot of that
different
stuff
taxes.
is just now taking effect. Yes, our economy has grown. Our GDP is larger. We're producing more. We're doing more. We've got a lot more going on. But we need to know for sure where we are with all those cuts that we've done before we go in there and start whacking again. Now, we might can put a plan in place for the future to begin, say, so that it doesn't even have to be triggers. It can just be put a plan in place and let that go forward. I think I heard the Lieutenant Governor the other day speaking, and he said if you just keep reducing it at the same amount we're reducing it right now, which is like a quarter of a point a year, in 10 years it'd be gone. So we might do something like that. I'm not sure what plan we'll come up with, but I think you'll see something. Whether or not it passes is, but I believe that in this term of this governor's term that we're going to get something done. But we've got to see what the economy is doing for sure.
Yeah, and I personally don't like to go beyond the current administration on any reductions. In other words, we can say next 3 years we can do it, but then you're going to have a new governor, new lieutenant governor, new senators, new House members, and just me, not the Senate, just me. I don't like to go beyond the current administration. I have, but I don't like to.
You've gone along with some stuff that does.
Yeah.
I get it, but you don't necessarily just want to do that. And
exactly.
that's now obviously we're coming through a really bad recession under the Biden administration. Just nationally, it has just been a mess.
Ugly.
It's been a mess.
It has been.
It really has been a mess. It's cost the citizens a lot of money.
And look, Trump. I'm happily to announce that I definitely supported Trump. I mean, I think most all of us did.
Right, he has a track record.
But let me tell you, he has the same problems kind of like we have here, in a sense that he's probably got 3 major agencies where most of the money go, and I think healthcare is probably one of those, and especially when you start talking about Social Security.
His biggest problem is
Social
interest.
Security.
Interest on the
I
debt.
mean, they owe $36 billion now, and they said if he doesn't make a lot of cuts, it'll be 40 by the end of his administration.
I know, right?
Or sooner. So where does he cut? Where does
Well,
he
the Department of Education would be one good spot.
Well,
I mean, you can
he's
do away with
talking
that
about, and he's talking about.
Now, I believe we can just gut that, and I believe he's going to task Linda McMahon to do that very job. I think
Yeah.
he's going to have her go in there and literally gut it.
He's going to have to do a lot of gutting
And
for us to
now, that's just a
balance the
smaller
budget.
agency, obviously. You're not going to save $36 trillion over there, but you are going to get rid of a lot of bureaucratic red tape.
We are.
That will have as Reagan would say, it'd be trickle down economics. Well, that works because clearly it works when you implement it correctly. And so I see that happening, but also just from the taxes standpoint, will some of these issues that we've experienced for the last 4 years will correct themselves under a new administration?
I think so. I hope so.
We don't have a crystal ball. Obviously, we don't. But when you're trying to project taxes and revenues over the next couple of years, with the Trump administration, you do have a history of what he was able to do the first go around.
Oh yeah.
So-
and we've done those things in the
And when you
state.
start forecasting that,
I mean, we have a rainy day fund and a reserve like this state's never had. This state is in the best physical condition it's ever been in.
congratulations.
Ever.
Y'all done a good job.
And
We've
we
eliminated
did
$1 billion in debt, right at $1 billion in debt.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we're sitting with over $1 billion in reserve. But now when we do have that hurricane, we're going to be ready.
you'll be at
And when we
right.
do have some cuts, like if Trump does cut Medicaid, which we're one of the largest Medicaid states. I hate to say that out loud, but it's true. And our match goes from like in the 70% to the 50%,
Right.
then this state's going to have to put in a lot more matching money for those people.
until you can correct the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, you don't want to hurt anyone else when that does happen, because that's
And-
going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you do want to, I get, there's a lot of things here that you're juggling. That makes the legislative
absolutely.
session very interesting, which is why I like this show.
And we have people on Medicaid that deserve to be on Medicaid.
Sure, and we have
in
people on it
Rankin
that
County,
don't.
And they need help, and it's our job to help the needy and to help those that need help. And but we just don't need to be throwing money away, and we need to make sure
Agreed.
it's going in the right direction.
Agreed. So, last topic of the day. Gene's already smiling. Where are we going on the public employees retirement system this year?
You want me to start, or you want to?
We'll let you have this one.
First thing, there's been meetings with the retirement board, and they're going to make a recommendation which we're probably going to accept.
Okay.
That's
Can you
the
share it?
elected board by the people. So if they recommend what they said they will recommend, then we're going to do it. Now, what does that do? It creates for new employees a new retirement system. Anyone that's currently a state employee or retiree will absolutely see no change. There will be no change. You'll still get your COLA. You'll still get that 13th check just like always if that's the way you do it. The amount won't change. Everybody's happy. New employees, you're going to see a lot of changes. There probably won't be any type of guaranteed COLA. I'm not saying it won't be some type of cost of living adjustment for the new employees 20 years from now or however many years from now, whenever they quit work or retire. But the new employees, you're going to see some major changes in that. And we have to do that to secure this, what we have now. But they're going to recommend changes, and my understanding, we're going to accept it. And I've heard from another House member that if the board makes the recommendation, that y'all will probably accept it as well.
That's the plan. If we'll go along with what the board brings forward.
So we'll learn more about this.
Yes.
Y'all stay tuned, because next year we're going to learn more about it.
You really are.
They can't share a whole lot right now, but we're going to learn more.
They haven't voted on the plan. I don't want to put words in their mouth.
Sure,
I don't
obviously.
want to try to sit here and say what they're going to do for sure. I mean, we've heard what we think they're going to do, but we'll know when they
Well,
vote on
that's
it.
right.
And if they don't ever vote on it, we were not doing anything. We'll be
that's
sitting
right.
right where we're sitting.
So if the PERS board does not vote on what they're proposing,
Right.
then nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
We'll just let it sit there.
We'll let it sit there.
And keep
Now, what's the
doing the best we can do.
sustainability at this point of our system? if we just let it sit there. And I'm just talking out
Well,
there.
It's good for like 30 years. I mean, we're talking about future.
Right.
So
Right.
but for 30 years, everything's fine. So the current retirees should be good. As long as they don't live too long.
And current employees.
That takes it back to healthcare, Gene.
Well, it's no different. I guess Social Security's, they're having some problems there
Sure.
too. The difference in Social Security is the federal government took out some of our Social Security money and
Yeah,
put
like
in
all of it.
Yeah,
Right, they borrowed
we
all
do
of it.
not do that with a state
Sure.
retirement plan. As a matter of fact, what did we put in last year?
100 million, 110, something like that.
Yeah, $110 million to help secure it, and we're going to keep doing that until we work this out. We're going to. I'm not saying it's going to be 110.
It's
it could be
guaranteed by
150, or
the
it could
full
be
faith
80.
credit
yeah.
of the state of Mississippi.
That's correct.
I get it.
Yeah, we're going to
So-
take care. We feel like, and I say we, Gene and I and others that I've talked to, we feel like we have an obligation to those people that are current employees and retirees, that we had a contract with them, an employment type contract, and this is what they were guaranteed, and this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to back up.
And it's a lot of the reasons why people work in state
Well, I was
government.
gonna say,
and
Exactly.
city and
a lot of
and
people,
county.
I mean, people like you have given up. You could have made a lot more working in other jobs that you gave up to be employed here to do what you're doing, and a lot of other people have done the same thing. So we need to make sure that we fulfill the obligation.
Yeah, and we have some very good, dedicated, regardless of what people may say. I'm telling you, we have some really good state employees and city and
Yeah,
county.
we do. And
schools.
I know majority of them believe like I do, and as you said, Gene, yes, obviously I came from the corporate world, and yes, you do make a lot more money on that side. And then they're completely different because you got to pay for benefits and 401k and all that. So there's give and take on both sides, obviously, right? But from our standpoint, it's more about service. It's giving to your community, being a part of that and supporting each other in the community is really where it comes from. It's not necessarily about the money. Now, is it nice to know that I have a retirement waiting for me, and that I'm not going to be homeless? Yes, I totally agree. But it's not because I want to get wealthy. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with service. I think the people that work here, because I know all of them. I know all 254 of them. I think we're up to right now. I know all of them, literally, and so. All of them have that same heart for service, so it's really about that.
Yeah.
Is why they're here. Anyway, so PERS is solid.
PERS are going to be okay.
Okay. I am looking forward to having our conversations every week because it sounds like it's going to be really interesting. And I'm glad to be doing it again with you
And it's going to be going fast, let me
Yes.
tell you.
Yes.
I mean, we'll have committee meetings the very first week. We're going on Tuesday. We'll probably have committee meetings on Wednesday, if
So-
not Tuesday afternoon.
So in about a month, everyone, hang on because we'll be right here table topping all of these issues that we have been discussing today. So it's going to be really exciting.
And
Merry
we
Christmas to y'all. Happy
appreciate
New
you
Year.
letting us having this and letting us tell the people what is going on.
Yes, we do.
Hey, it's the best way to get it's straight from
The horse's mouth.
I wasn't going to say it, but
I think how worse.
I appreciate you guys very much. Merry Christmas to y'all. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you.
We will
Happy
see
New Year.
you, Lord willing, we will see you in 2025.
Thank you.
Like
Which is not far off.
Which is not far off, just a few weeks.
4 weeks.
In about a month, we'll be right here, and it'll be our first show of the year because this is the last show for the year. So
Well, we appreciate you letting us come and tell what's happening.
best way to find out
Yeah.
is right here. Anyway, we're going to step aside. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl to enjoy a Mississippi Braves baseball game or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Welcome back, guys, to This Week in Pearl. I'm Frank Hutton. What a fantastic conversation that was with our representatives from the state. It's a lot that's going to, I can't imagine, it's 3,000 bills that will be introduced, 3,000 pieces of legislation, and maybe 10% will actually come out of that. That's an amazing number to hear. And the health care, crime, taxes, education, and PERS, what a fantastic conversation. We really learned a lot, and I can't wait until we get to next year and we start talking about these things as they're being debated in the legislature. Okay, so what's going on in Pearl? Well, it's December and it's Christmas time coming up. We just finished the parade, so we've got Christmas break coming up for school, but I want to talk about it real quick. The Mud Monsters are hosting Hot Dogs with Santa starting Thursday, December 12th at 5:30 to 7:30. Totally a free event. Hot Dogs with Santa, free event. Come by, get your picture with Santa Claus, get a free hot dog, free hot chocolate. And it's also an opportunity to see Mississippi Mud Monsters gear and purchase that for the very first time. Baseball season's going to be here, literally before we know it. It's just literally right around the corner. Also, Pearl High School singers are presenting their annual Madrigal Feast this Friday, December the 13th at 7 p.m. in the High School Commons. Tickets are $25. You can reach out to Pearl High School for those tickets. So be sure and support the Pearl Singers. Buy the ticket. The Madrigal Singers are wonderful. They dress in costume. It's more of a medieval looking. It's all done a cappella. They sing really good. Enjoy seeing them. So go by and support them as well. City offices are going to be closed for Christmas, obviously, December 25th and 26th, and then for New Year's on the 1st and the 2nd of January 2025. After that, city offices will resume and go back to normal. So anyway, I've enjoyed being your host this year for This Week in Pearl. Until next time, I will see you in 2025.